proudly presents the 1990 Edison Festival Grand Parade of Lights. Brought to you by Cape Coral Hospital, your family healthcare resource. Firestone Advertising and their fine clientele, including Southwest Florida Regional Medical Center. Trust your heart to experience. And Smitty's Restaurant, a reputation you can taste.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. I'm Todd Shearer.
And I'm Jane Lorenzini. We're live atop the National Bank of Lee County in the offices of Boyle Engineering. And we're honored to have a special guest with us tonight.
Margie Willis, who's the executive director of the Edison Pageant and the Edison Festival of Light. She's also been involved in the whole festival process now for the past, what, 17 years,
17
is it?
years.
And even a former queen.
Former queen in 1965.
And seen it all.
That's right.
Seen it all for a long time. It's wonderful.
By the way, everybody, these are the official Edison Festival of Light hats we're wearing. I'm sure you're very jealous of those.
The official fashion risk of the Festival of Light.
Talking a little bit about the history of the Edison Festival of Light Parade. It's hard to believe, but this parade is over 50 years old now.
It is, 52 years this year.
I'll tell you, though, the same things I think have been going on. The smell of burgers, you can hear the laughing of kids, and it's nice to finally see some bodies in these lawn chairs.
That's right. Isn't that the truth?
Now, how these, I've lived here in this area for a few years now, and I've always been impressed by the chairs. I think any newcomer to this area is startled when they see the chairs lining the parade route. Is this something that's developed over the years?
For years. Ever since I can remember, it's been going on. It's just gotten bigger and bigger, and more people are bringing their lawn chairs out.
When you can remember watching as a child, was it as jam-packed? I mean, 4 and 5 rows back?
No, never this big. It's really gotten big. In just the last 10 years, it just keeps growing like a giant.
And of course, it's the largest nighttime parade in the world, and it shows it tonight by the number of people who've jammed their way in here.
They sure have.
We took a look earlier today. At about 11 o'clock, there were people sitting in their chairs already, if you can believe that, so they get an early start.
We certainly do hope a few of you have opted for armchairs as opposed to lawn chairs and are watching tonight.
That's true. Now, when you look at the history of the parade, what are some of the things that really... This was started in honor, of course, of Fort Myers' most famous widow resident, Thomas Edison. Maybe you could give us a little bit more background, Margie.
Thomas Edison, when he died in 1931, the Fort Myers didn't do anything at that time, and then they had a Sunshine Festival, which they started. But it was in 1938 that Ronald Halgram decided to, with the help of the Women's Community Club, to start a festival for Thomas Alva Edison. And that's how it all started. He was editor of the news press at that time. So they got the ball rolling, and it grew from a 3-day festival now to a 2-week festival.
And this year's, well, I was going to say that this year's festival started on February 3rd, and that was the start now. So it's certainly grown since the old 3-day festival.
It sure has.
And this year we opened the festival with the unveiling of the new statue at Centennial Park, Uncommon Friends. Quite a number of other things happened that day. Let's take a look back at some of the things that happened February 3rd for opening day.
It's a gala event that many people look forward to every year. The fanfare to honor inventor and former resident Thomas Edison seems to keep growing.
An opportunity to reflect on the history of Fort Myers and have some insight into where our roots are.
Henry Ford.
Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Harvey Firestone, 3 famous friends who once lived side by side along the Caloosahatchee River, are honored with life-size statues in Centennial Park.
These 3 men are as responsible as anybody for what is the 20th century industrial revolution. They've more or less invented the life that we've lived.
This sculpture is Wilkins' way of summing up 3 great personalities of the century.
Looks like he's going to light a fire, doesn't it? He's really neat.
Oh, really? Residents and visitors alike are inspired by the tribute and the craftsmanship.
Hey, I went all the way to Mount Rushmore to see these, and they weren't half as nice as this. All the presidents on there. I think this is gorgeous.
Over 100 artists and craftsmen are in Centennial Park to show and sell their artwork. Many look forward to them coming, and it generates fan clubs and revenues for artists.
This helps, and people look forward to us coming back to an area of the country where we were before.
This year, the Edison Festival of Light is no longer known as a pageant, but as a festival, so more of the community is involved.
The pageant was a membership-only
or is a membership-only organization, and the festival is open to everyone.
The dedication in the Arts and Crafts Show is just the beginning. For the next 2 weeks, there'll be plenty of activities and music and things to see and do. That will all end on February the 17th with the Festival of Lights Parade. In Fort Myers, Keith Taylor, Wink News.
Plenty of parade action headed your way, so stay with us. Patty Berg, Todd.
All right, we're back, everybody, and this is the Wink TV coverage of the Edison Festival of Light Parade. I'm Todd Shearer, along with Jane Lorenzini and Margie Willis, and the parade is just now starting to round the bend and make it to our location here at the National Bank of Lee County building. We're in the offices of Boyle Engineering, and I understand that you have some of the award winners for this year's floats. Is that right?
Yeah, we sure do.
Well, let's hear who's somebody to look for.
The Parade Marshals Awards, Best Independent. First place goes to More Fun Than a Picnic. Second place, Poppin' for Edisonia. Third place, Boppin' Our Hop. And honorable mention is Hatched in Edisonia.
All right, we'll get a chance to see some of those in just a moment, but right now, here's the beginning of the Edison Festival of Light Parade, and, well, we saw it briefly anyway, just a little tease for everybody, I guess.
Todd, earlier this week, you talked to the Grand Marshal of the parade, Patty Berg.
That's true. I get a chance to meet with the Grand Marshal of the parade, who's quite a famous lady if you're a golfer as well. Her name is Patty Berg, and she's a resident right here of Southwest Florida. Let's find out what she had to say about being Grand Marshal of the parade.
Patty Berg just turned 72 years old this week, but don't look for something like age to slow her down. Patty still lives, eats, and breathes golf.
Oh, golf is going to be there every second that I'm awake, you know that, and I love golf.
And a glance at the walls and trophy cases at Cypress Lake Country Club in Lee County shows how that love of golf paid off. Golf has given Patty a chance to meet celebrities and even presidents. Patty began her professional career 50 years ago. During that time, she's won 57 pro tournaments. Patty's wins include 7 title holders championships. That's the LPGA's equivalent to winning the Masters. She's also won the U.S. Open, the Western Open, Pebble Beach, and the list goes on. But Patty says her most memorable win came in 1934 when she picked up the title at the Minneapolis City Championship. Just 1 year before, she lost miserably at that same tournament.
And as I was walking back to the clubhouse, I said to myself, well, I'm going to improve now. I'm going to practice and take my lessons from my golf professional, and I will practice 365 days and see if I can't improve. Maybe move up a flight and maybe shoot maybe 110, not 122.
She did a lot more than that. The next year, Patty qualified with a 79 and went on to win the tournament. This year, Patty adds a new honor to her list of achievements by serving as Grand Marshal of the Edison Festival of Light Parade. Despite her amazing golf career, Patty considers her role as Grand Marshal one of the biggest thrills of her life.
I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's so terrific. I've seen it on television, you know, in various years when I've been home, and it's just super. It's a tremendous thrill for me.
What a great lady. And as you can just take a listen, you can tell that the motorcycle escort has started the parade. That includes the Lee County Sheriff's officials and Fort Myers PD and Cape Coral PD. And Lee County Sheriff's traffic unit has been helping us out for about 15 years. And you know they've been busy the past few months with fender benders, so this parade is certainly a nice reprieve for them.
Pretty fancy looking police car there that they're riding, isn't it? Convertible? Police Chief Jerry Sperlin we're seeing right there, Fort Myers Police Chief. In case you're just tuning in, no, there isn't any giant emergency in downtown Fort Myers. It's the Edison Festival of Light Parade, and we're seeing now the initial police escorts is coming out. Sheriff John McDougall just went by. We'll also be seeing people from the Cape Coral Police Department, Chief Lynn Rowe from there, and Sanibel Police, and the list goes on.
And what's nice to notice is there are no umbrellas and no jackets. What a beautiful night for the parade, Margie.
Right. Oh, it sure is. It's wonderful, and I think they're having a great time.
Not always that lucky in past years as far as rain and things like that, are we?
Well, we've had close to a lot of rain, but it's always stopped right in the nick of time.
A little bit of a mini police cruiser right there, I guess.
Kids love that little car that just went by.
Oh, yeah, it's a great educational
tool. Look at him. Oh, he's been winking at us.
Seems only appropriate. Wink TV, right?
That's right.
Todd and I were out earlier this afternoon, and the floats that you're going to be seeing in the next couple of minutes were so beautiful in the sun sparkling. They're going to be just perfect in the nighttime with all the lights.
As a matter of fact, some of those floats were built especially for the nighttime, and that's really where they shine. Among some of the other police escorts we'll be seeing tonight, Florida Highway Patrol, Airport Police, Fort Myers Fire Department will be cruising along momentarily. There's also emergency medical services. It's certainly an attention getter, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is. Everybody, when they hear the sirens, they know the parade's on its way.
That parade route winds through, give us the parade route real quickly. It starts off down on Bay Street and kind of winds
Starts
through
down
Fort
on
Myers.
Lee Street and Edwards Drive and comes up to First and down First to Monroe and the Monroe to Main. I feel like I've given this speech, this routine of the parade for so many times.
Because you have, Margie. 17 years.
Same thing. Whoops.
Boy, I hate,
there's a great old fire truck.
Same thing.
hate to have to get to a fire in it, though.
And that's the truth.
A classic fire truck, just to entertain the crowd there. Now, when these end up, they'll the parade ends up at the Fort Myers High School Stadium, and there's a stadium show there that's going on as
Yeah,
well.
we just had the mummers. They were on, and fireworks display just started. As soon as it's finished, the parade will be ready to roll in.
Now we're moving into some of the antique cars that we've got running here in the Edison Festival of Light Parade.
That's Thomas Edison's Model T, and Robert Halgram and Caroline Halgram are in the front seat, and Pat and Jenna Mann. And Pat Mann is the president of the Edison pageant this year. And Robert Halgram was my king in 1965.
Is that right?
So we sort of have a...
You guys go way back. Huh?
Right, we sure do.
Todd, do you think 50 years from now our samurais will be antique cars at the Edison Festival of Light?
If they're still running, who knows? We'll have to be more careful with them.
Great night to take the top down, though.
That's right. What a beautiful night. Everybody's having a great time out here. You know, it's fun to see these old antique cars like this. They're just in such great shape. Just incredible.
Sam Galloway, the president, just went by in his modeled an N. That's what he told me today. It's 1906. And he's been riding in that car since 1948, ever since he was a little child.
Do I see that this is an old milk truck?
Now, this is Hart's Dairy milk truck.
How about that? Well, there's a guy who has an interesting view of the parade, or at least the spectators in the parade, right?
I hope he stays with that view. He doesn't get a sideways view.
Bikes are a lot easier to get on and off of these days,
Sure
aren't they?
are. Boy, a bike would be a great way to get down to the parade today. The car route was really frustrating.
Sure was, bumper to bumper.
Here we go, someone who's proud of his city today.
Fort Myers Mayor Wilbur Smith and his family. One of his three sons is going to be riding along a little later because in a float. Isn't that right, Margie?
Yeah, he's on the Edison Festival float as a standard bearer for the family of the Queen.
Well, that'll be fun to ride on a float like that. What a great experience for a kid to be able to ride in the parade.
Oh, it sure is. And they all want to ride. So I have a hard time trying to get them adjusted to what floats children get to ride on.
And kids never get tired of this kind of thing either,
No,
whether
I
you're
don't think
riding in
adults
it
get
or
tired of
watching it. Well,
What do you
that's
mean,
true, too.
kids?
That's right.
Cape Coral Mayor Joe Mazurkowitz there with his family.
You think that guy I don't think the guy in the right-hand seat there is part of his family.
Long lost uncle or something.
Sanibel Mayor and his wife.
Here's the Cape Coral Band.
So we're heading for our first musical interlude.
All right. This is their 8th year in the parade. They're veterans.
You might be interested. Ivan Wansley is the chairman of our band show this year, Out-of-State Band Classic, and he did a wonderful job. Of course, he's very good with his own band, so we have to give him credit for being part of that, too.
See if we can give a listen.
That was the Cape Coral High School marching band wearing new uniforms, looking a little extra snazzy tonight.
Coming up, the Edison Festival of Light Royalty. Margie, you have some good memories of that action.
Boy, I sure do. That was great. I had a wonderful time when I rode on it. Of course, I don't think the parade was as long, or it didn't seem to have as many people, but it was still exciting. And the float Festival of Floats has been bringing this float over to us for over 40 years. So we have memories of a lot of royalty floats.
Who are the king and queen this year, Margie?
The new queen and king were crowned last night, and the new king is Robert Adkins, and the new queen is Andrea Sanders. And the trumpeteers on the front is Christina Mann and Chloe Maroney. The trumpeteers have a wonderful time. I did that one time. I stood up there and I thought I was just all by myself. I was in the whole world by myself.
They're the king and queen perched
There
in their
they
chairs
are.
of honor. Well, they're pretty enthusiastic right
Yeah,
now.
but-
Once they get toward the end, their waver's going to be sore, I think.
Boy, they don't need any light. Those teeth flashing are enough. With some beautiful teeth going by.
There's Patty Berg. What a great lady. She's got quite an interesting past. Helped found the Ladies Professional Golf Association, and despite all of her world travels, she said that this is one of the biggest thrills of her life, to ride in the Edison Festival of Light Parade as Grand Marshal. She sure deserves it.
Sort of payback for all she's done for the community.
That's right. She's great.
She must be in heaven, too, with the Etna Challenge in town. What a great weekend for her.
Absolutely.
Todd, you got our tickets for this thing?
Sounds like they're coming up for the stop. The Lee Memorial Hospital float. They've really gone to some extensive work on that, as you can see.
Off-time work as well, in addition to their jobs volunteering off-time duty to build this float. The riders are from the American Heart Association, Poster Children Prince and Princesses.
They also won the parade marshals best independent float, first place.
Well, congratulations to all of them. I guess their hard work and effort paid off.
Boy, it sure
Heart
did.
work, boy. They're really trying to emphasize taking care of your heart, and for all the people who ran in the 5K today, they're certainly taking care of their hearts.
We got our junior royalty there, don't we, Margie?
Yeah, that's our new little junior royalty, Chad Chandlin and Terry Horton, just crowned on February the 4th.
So this is their second parade during the festival, is that it?
No, this is their first parade.
Their first,
They
I
were
see.
just selected. The court members, this is their second parade.
Ah,
But they all they're so cute and they have so much fun.
sure. Well, it looks like a lot of fun, and we'll be back with more fun as the Edison Festival of Light Parade continues right here on Wing TV.
Don't go away.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. And we've been watching some of the bands go by. Looks like we're about to see another one.
From Mount Vernon, Indiana, this band includes 72 members, and band director is Ed Welty. It's an award-winning band for Best Guard and Best Drum Major.
They picked the right time of the year to enter a parade in Florida, I think, considering some of the weather conditions they've had in the Midwest recently.
I don't think they could move those flags with mufflers on.
That makes it harder. Mufflers and
I
mittens.
bet they're glad to be here.
I'll bet. And we're glad they're here as well.
Yeah,
We
we
sure
sure
are.
are. Mike Gill, he's our parade marshal and chairman of this parade this year, and has been for the last 5 years, and that's his family.
Must have been a busy man the last couple
he
weeks.
sure
Oh, boy.
has. He's a great guy to work with, too.
Here's the American Business Women's Association, and their float entitled "The Hand That Rocks the Cradle Rules the World."
And one of our local artists you may recognize, his name Tite, helped the women design the background of their float. Tite, a friend of Manatee and women. The women aboard are professionals that signify the growth of women's role in our world today.
Some of the success that they've enjoyed gives them a chance to sit in a place of honor on the float.
That's Sir Lord Richard Powell, the author here in Fort Myers, and he is also the Lord Chamberlain for the Edison Pageant of Light. And his wife, Margaret, has just become a United States citizen.
Is that right?
Last month, yeah.
Well, congratulations to her. That's
yes, indeed.
A double honor to ride in the parade and to win citizenship like that.
This is Zonta Club, established in my hometown, Buffalo, New York.
Oh.
Their theme is Zonta Lights Up the World, another women's organization. Todd, Zonta is a Sioux Indian word meaning honest and trustworthy.
For first-time participants in the Edison Festival of Light Parade, and we keep mentioning the weather, but what a great time of year to do this.
Zonta International is a service club for executives in business and the professions working to improve the status of women.
The person you're seeing in the background there, a very famous woman, Amelia Earhart, who is waving to the crowd from her perch there on the float and on her airplane.
That's not really Amelia, is it?
Might be.
If it is, we've got some big news in Fort Myers.
Stay tuned at 11, right?
Oh, this is a float that's close to my heart. I spent some time with these folks earlier this week. This is Edisonia, more fun than a picnic. These little ants aboard are just darling. There's 7 of them, and one of them aboard had the chicken pox for the children's parade and had to miss it, so he is happy to be up there tonight.
The whole neighborhood gets together and puts that float together, don't they?
Sure do, about 2 months worth. And those were bee costumes, and they ripped the wings off and added some arms, and you've got ants. And those ants I would never kick out of a picnic. They're too cute.
Yes, they are. This is Barbara and Mr. and Miss George T. Mann. Mrs. Mann is the originator of the Edison birthday party, which we have kept as a tradition all these years.
Time for another band. This is the Immokalee High School Band. 70 members in that band. The band director is John Ernst.
They proudly represent the city of Immokalee.
While this is one of the highlights of their marching and the chance to really show off, they're also traveling to Gatlinburg, Tennessee for the Smoky Mountain Music Festival soon, too. Let's hear what they can do.
I was a judge for their festival last year, and it was a great parade and show they had out there. And they even had the governor. I guess that tells us. I have a hard time getting him here. They have all those wonderful fruits and vegetables out there.
Mm-hmm.
Florida Elks Children's Hospital.
You know, they do some great things. The baby who's riding along in the chair up there is baby Britt.
She has a muscular disorder making it impossible for her to straighten her legs, and the Elks have helped with several operations. Recently, 3 weeks ago, she had an operation. Now she'll be able to stand and walk upright.
And the Elks are planning to continue the medical care, so they're really doing some nice things.
Good program. Boy, that's really chugging along. We've got some steam action going with that float. Everything's okay, though.
This is Into the Future, the Edison Community College and University of South Florida at Fort Myers float.
Students are wearing costumes they think will be the dress of the future.
It's interesting. This is really definitely a student float. The design was done by Erica Hall, who's an art major at ECC. There are over 15,000 lights outlining the entire float. Sculpture designed by the art club at ECC, and it's the look of the future, as we just said.
I wonder if he got an A+. Looks like it.
Extra credit, at least. Edison, Heart of Dunbar.
Looks like his arm is tired.
He's worn out already. He's got a ways to go.
In fact, the floats are headed to the Fort Myers High Stadium via US 41. You've got 100 members in this band going by, so take a look. This is the Cypress Lake High School Band.
sweat on the brow of that trombone player there. I played in a high school marching band for a while, and it's tough work, but once you get going, the adrenaline keeps you going.
Speaking of adrenaline, here's the road race winners from the 5K race earlier today.
Doesn't it make you mad when they don't even look winded?
What a great route, though, to have so many people cheering for you.
It'd be fun to run in a race at night. I've never done that.
A lot cooler.
They look cool.
Congratulations to them.
A couple more of the racers.
Must be a nice break to ride in a car.
After all that long run.
Right.
Here's the float entitled Children Reflect the Light. It benefits the Lee County Children's Home Society and Youth Shelter. Floats a rainbow with a shining sun and moon, casting a yellow and blue light onto the children riding in the float.
What a great organization. Help a lot of kids out who are not troublemakers, just troubled kids who need a little bit of a break until the family problems get worked out.
Must be a real thrill to be able to ride on a float like that. Looks like the guys driving the float, as a matter of fact, are having a good time.
Is he driving, though?
Let's hope.
And here's one of the big balloons coming through. This is Dino. You might recognize him from the old Flintstones cartoon. Decided to make his way from Bedrock to Fort Myers. Sponsored by WSFP.
It's like a couple cave women. Bam Bam's got to be in there somewhere.
You know, Margie, balloons like that, that's a definite change from the old days.
That's a different, yeah. We saw these balloons out in Palm Springs in the end of September, and we tried to get some of the merchants here in Fort Myers to sponsor them, and they've taken a hold, I think, real well. And this is a cold air balloon. It's not filled with helium, so he works real well going down the streets. You can bob him up and down.
So you can move up and down and around the wires, I would guess?
So he can go underneath all the traffic lights.
And you're wondering if dinosaurs sweat. They sure do, and that's why that costume, the dinosaur walking along, is air-conditioned.
The Noblesville High School Band. This is from Noblesville, Indiana. That's our second Indiana band so far that we've seen tonight, 93 members.
We appreciate you sharing the parade with us tonight, and we'll have more action just ahead, so stay with us.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. We're sitting perched atop the Lee County, or the National Bank of Lee County, on the offices of Boyle Engineering. We've got quite a vantage point to watch the parade tonight. I'm along with Jane Lorenzini and Margie Willis, and at this point, I hear the sound of bagpipes in the background.
That's a Robus Rhine group, and we're glad to have them.
We had seen Patty Berg go by a little bit earlier. She was the winner of an award today, and a little later in the show, we're going to tell you about that award.
Why we have gaps in our parade. They were a great time.
Looks like this trolley didn't quite fill up as much as Raleigh and Molly and the rest of the trolley crowd you see driving around downtown Fort Myers.
Those are the jokers, the Shriners who dress up as clowns to perform for the public.
Look at those happy faces.
They make a lot of smiles for people.
If you don't know much about the Shriners, it's interesting to note that they do a lot of community service work. Their specialty is working with children who have been severely burned. They have a hospital at Tampa. You just saw Tiffany Cox there. She's a 10-year-old. The Robert Shriner Chanters. Their Shriners to provide a little vocal entertainment, as you can see, or hear. Being patriotic with a song James Cagney made famous.
That's before your time, Todd. How do you know that?
I'm an old movie buff. If it's on late, I watch it on TV.
Speaking of the color pink, just notice a flash of pink. We have some workout girls in hot pink and white coming up. Think that'll make them stick around, Todd?
That ought to do it. Just depends on who you're talking to.
That's true.
And has green hair.
Well, considering the nautical theme, we ought to tell you that that's the Shriners from the beach and Gulf area, the Floatmeyers. They call themselves Beach Club. Look out, time for Keystone Cops. Hopefully nobody in that crowd's pulling anything funny, huh?
Boy, they put so much work into the parade.
There's no doubt about it, the Shriners love a parade. Right down to their canine comrades. This is the Oriental Band. Dressed in Arabic costumes, play music of Arabic theme in the shrine.
So many people videotaping this parade tonight, and you think that they really should realize they could never do that without Mr. Edison's help.
Just incredible the number of inventions that Edison actually came up with and threw a patent onto. And we will return with more from the Edison Festival of Light parade in just a moment.
Welcome back to the Edison Festival of Light. I'm Jane Lorenzini along with Todd Shearer and Margie Willis. We're live atop the National Bank of Lee County in the Boyle offices. Glad to be here tonight. Coming up, we have a little bit of the Shriners left. They've contributed so much to the parade. And a health and fitness float on the way you might enjoy.
But these Shriners are glad they're not following this next float because that's a tough act to follow. This is from the Workout Health and Fitness Center. The float is a 40-foot hot pink and white float, and the people on it are working out in their leotards and athletic wear.
Some heart rate's going up. Those girls have enough energy to light up the lights aboard the float. They don't need any electricity.
Oh, there's Deke.
So much energy. Deke's hair's grown since I last saw him.
I think you're right. Change color too.
Yes, it did.
Apparently going to the same hairdresser as that clown with the green hair we saw earlier.
Okay, this is a moving part of the parade right here.
You know,
They don't stop, and they do this all the way through the stadium.
that's incredible. Marching through a parade can be fatiguing enough, but to work out through a parade brings a whole new meaning to it, doesn't it?
Margie, you didn't see a lot of this, I'll bet, when you were back in the parade years ago.
Not hardly.
When you were the queen, not a lot of
Real
leotards
change.
running around. Coming up, lighting the way to the future. This is co-sponsored by Cypress Lake High School and Westinghouse Gateway. Little blend of education and community involvement. It's a recognized, highly recognized partnership in education. Florida Commissioner of Education Betty Castor recently presented the Commissioner's Education Award to Cypress and Gateway officials in recognition of their outstanding partnership agreement. The school business team has been selected out of 369 nominees across the state.
Todd, here's a float we saw earlier today. People working hard, stapling and taping, and now it looks beautiful. The Optimist Club of Lee County. 5 clubs included in that organization.
Optimist Club is a neat group. They work to help youth in the area.
There's a 7-foot chicken. It's the
Another
Mr.
band.
Resistor chicken. This is LaBelle High School band. 77 members of this band. Next year, you may see them sporting some new uniforms. They're raising money for some new gear.
Good chance for them to
We're also
show
getting ready
off and
for
show
the
why it's
Swamp
worth it.
Cabbage Festival
That's right.
coming up.
The annual Swamp Cabbage Festival. It doesn't sound great, but it tastes great.
Edison pageant's real grateful for all the bands that make the effort to come to the parade each year. We know it takes a lot of time and money.
A lot of bake sales.
That's right.
Well, this wouldn't be a parade. I can't imagine a parade without lots of bands and lots of music.
Here's a fun float. Mr. Edison, this jump's for you. This is the Tropic Isles Elementary High Jumpers Jump Rope Team.
Talked to some people earlier today who were putting the finishing touches on this float. They say that they put in a lot of late nights building the float. The age range is about 7 to 10 years old, and they 35 members on this team. And apparently they're quite a show. They put on quite a show.
Not to mention the manpower, the money power. They took 2 years to raise money to build this float.
That is one packed float. All 35 members of the team are on that float. Here's another fun group. This is the Bayshore Elementary School Cloggers. I had a chance to talk to them earlier today. There are 20 members of this clogging team. They go around and show off their talents at mobile home parks and festivals, things like that. Kids practice 1.5 hours every single week, and the parents made the costumes themselves. The kids and the parents also built this float themselves.
Made the costumes?
Here's a float that was definitely designed for a nighttime parade. Lots of neon went into this. Matter of fact, over 350 feet of various colors of neon and black lighting. It's built by employees at night. Guess that seems appropriate for a nighttime parade. That's Flash Warden, the symbol for the co-op's home lighting protection
Flash
system.
Gordon. They won second place for the Marshals Award, Best Independent. Oh, they all popped out.
Boy, a lot of people going to go home tonight with Technicolor dreams from all these floats.
That's right.
Cute little faces.
Sure are. This is the Estero High School Marching Band, 70 members in that band. They've done very well, too, haven't they, Jane?
Sure have. This past year, the band has won 11 trophies. Boy, something's coming. The crowd's roaring.
Another prize winner. It's honorable mention for Best Independent Marshals Award, hatched in Edisonia. They won the most outstanding in the children's parade on February the 4th.
Margie, have there been awards on the parade since you can remember?
Yes, at least for the last 15 years we've had awards.
It's the Lee County Sheriff Junior Deputy Program, sponsored by the Lee County Sheriff's Office.
Junior Deputy Program has been in effect for 10 years now.
This neat program really teaches the kids some valuable lessons about stranger awareness, staying home alone, of course talking about drugs and how to stay away from them.
This should be the Royal Order of Ponce de Leon Conquistadors, Spanish galleon.
This is a good neighbor float from Punta Gorda.
Looks like they put some real detail into that. Looks like a real wheel there, but hopefully they're not steering with that.
Todd, that was one thing that was nice about going along the parade route this morning. You can really see the detail and the hard work that people put in that sometimes you don't catch from far away up here.
Cape Coral Moose Lodge. The front of the float is naturally a moose replica. But fortunately, the backdrop is a moose insignia.
And those are the official moose vests. Stick around, plenty of action ahead at the Edison Festival of Light Parade.
Don't go away. Welcome back to the parade. This is the Edison High School band. No, it's not local. This is from Ohio, Edison's hometown, isn't it?
Milan, Ohio, where Thomas Edison was born.
We just caught the tail end of that, but we'll have more. We have that on tape, luckily. We'll have more of that a little later in the show. Here's a Cellular One Crime Watch float.
And that's in coordination with the Fort Myers Police Department. And the employees built this float.
Interesting to note that this float also won second prize in the children's parade for commercial floats. Cellular One's a neat program. It teams up with local law enforcement agencies to help crack down on crime. It's a good way to get a hold of a police officer in a hurry.
Especially with an 8-foot cellular phone like the one on that float.
All new meaning to call for help, right?
That's right.
Here's a fun float.
The Fun Tree, as a matter of fact. Fort Myers costume shot. This is the Pirates Cove.
It's neat how they have the shipwreck moving there, isn't it?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, someone's fighting.
Get that cellular phone back. We've got trouble.
We're going to have to call EMS. We're way ahead in the parade, too.
If you look real close, you see a live mermaid aboard and some dolphins that are animated to look like they're swimming. There she is.
Real waterfalls. I mean, they went all out on this thing.
Fun Tree is a great place that helps all the float people make floats because they order all our float material in.
I really like the detail that went into it. Must be fun to ride in something like that. Bet those guys are going to wear out, dueling all the way to Fort Myers High School. Looks like that person's hanging on for dear life.
Need some Dramamine. It's too realistic.
And here comes Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa
Paisan. Had some great ziti there one night. They've been participating in the parade for 9 years. The Peroni family, they own the restaurant. I don't know if Edison was a fan of Italian food. I can't really see him downing a pizza.
Go through the museum, they talk about him just nibbling on sandwiches and crackers and things like that.
Yep.
I think food wasn't quite as important as it is to some of us. This float depicts a gondola, which is really the symbol of Italy with the red, green, and white.
Like they're having a pretty good time.
Family and friends of the restaurant owners.
That's Mr. Maroon.
Well, if you'll notice the teepee coming up next is the YMCA Indian Guide program. The theme is We Are Rowing for Edison.
This float is built entirely by parents and children active in the parent-child program. They did scores and fundraisers, everything from hot dog sales and garage sales, and they asked for donations from local merchants to build the float.
You know, they keep that Indian theme by the parents and children joining together. They meet in small groups. They call tribes. They hold meetings and conduct outings and just try to have some fun while at the same time learning a few things.
Their slogan is pals forever and friends always.
Hopefully that's not war paint.
Diane Maddox riding in the back seat of that convertible with Keith Carey and Fred Thayer. Diane's the chairman of the junior parade.
This young lady welcomes the DeSoto County High Band from Arcadia. Band director for them is Jim Conner.
They're no stranger to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. They marched in last year's Edison Parade as well. Looks like they mean business, doesn't it?
That's what I played in high school, percussion, and what a blast.
Unless you're packing that bass drum, which can get kind of heavy after a while.
Well, what you do is you store a can of pop in your hat. That's what we used to do. Freeze it up, and then by the end of the parade, it's just perfect. Live atop the National Bank of Lee County in the offices of Boyle Engineering, and we overlook Main Street. Great view. It's en route to Fort Myers High Stadium where the floats end up. Here's a McFloat.
The Golden Arches are always a dead giveaway there. Not even the Hamburglar can spoil a parade like this one.
Well, the kids sure do love Ronald McDonald. He's the brightest red hair.
This is a springtime float featuring a large gazebo, a small gazebo. There's old Ronald. Well, you know, he's been around a while, and he still looks pretty young, doesn't he? Sam Galloway Ford float. They're a big part of this parade, aren't they, Margie?
Yeah, Sam Galloway's the president of the Edison Festival. He was president of the Edison pageant last year, so he's had 2 years of this. He's been a wonderful person to work with.
This year, their float called the Horseless Carriage. It's old-fashioned clothing.
So the driver's head even moves. A lot of animation this year on these floats.
Lee County Hotel Motel Association. This is Knighthood and Royalty.
This is the second year they've been on Edison Festival Parade.
All the people riding on the float are officers or on the board of directors.
Look out, here comes the Green Wave.
Splashing its way up the street.
65 members strong.
Bet they'll get quite a cheer from the crowd once they hit the final destination of the parade over at Fort Myers High School.
Home team.
Yeah, this is my alma mater.
Were you in the band, Margie?
No, I wasn't in the band, but I attended Fort Myers High School.
You were too busy riding floats and waving to the crowd, right?
Right. I preferred the floats and not the hard work of blowing the horns.
Little did you know it would turn into hard work later on once you started dealing with all of this, right? I guess a lot of hard work goes into putting on a parade like this.
Sure does. It takes us a whole year to get it all together. It's fun. We have a great time, especially when you see it all climaxing like this. And the weather turns out.
That's true. Hard to believe a year-long planning session can turn into just 2 hours of work, though, at the climax, right, with the parade.
Here's a float that's special to our hearts, the Wink FM J.C. Penney's floats, with a special guest on board.
If you're an old rocker, that's Peter Frampton.
They did. There they are.
You may remember the old Frampton.
Hello once again,
Comes
everybody.
Alive.
It's a Grand Filet Light Weekend. This is Dave Alexander from Wink FM, and with us, the one and only Peter Frampton. Peter, you enjoying the parade?
Yes, it's fun, fun, fun. Hi, Jane and Todd. Wink TV. Hello.
Nice to see you guys. Peter, thanks everyone involved here tonight. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Peter Frampton has a new album out, as a matter of fact, so he's not sitting back and relaxing anymore. He's out here going all out, and he's had a lot of fun with the morning guys over at Wink FM the last couple of days. Charlotte County the Charlotte High School Silver King Band. .100 members in this band.
More bands ahead and plenty of floats ahead as well, so stay with us. I'm Jane Lorenzini along with Todd Shear and Margie Willis. We're atop the National Building in the offices of Boyle Engineering with a great view of Main Street and some Scottish band marchers.
Those are great costumes.
Not only has this band won plenty of awards, they, a few years ago, won a 10-day trip to England.
Margie, were you getting a lot of bands from out of state like this years ago? Is this something that's really been attracting people?
Well, we have tried to get bands, and it's getting better. Our show was really great last night, and we're planning on having a bigger show next year with more bands. This year we had 5 for our out-of-state marching. These bands that come in spend an awful lot of money to get here to Fort Myers and to be in our parade and band show.
Let's give them a listen.
I'm sure time they finish this parade, they're going to be really warm.
He's the assistant parade marshal this year.
Here comes the Way FM float. Their theme is lighting the way for Southwest Florida. So really one of the first Christian stations geared exclusively to teens and young adults. Those are all the air personalities and some volunteers up there. It's also interesting to note that a listener picked up the tab for actually building and entering this float. This is a listener-supported station. Margie, they've been on in the parade in the past, haven't they? Except this is their first year
here with
is
us.
it? I thought they maybe co-sponsored one before, but this first year is their own float.
But this is the first time for the Wave.
There's an animated float headed our way. Temperatures going down. Mr. Bingle, the large snowman, headed our way, throwing confetti, candy confetti.
This is the first time for Maison Blanche in our parade, and this float is also a first. It comes from Wizard Productions in Orlando.
Movements are really neat on that, aren't they?
Came in a large semi-truck this afternoon.
Is that right?
Yeah, as they scooted it out the back and put it all together.
Refrigerated truck?
Yeah, I think so.
Here's a float near and dear to our heart, the Wink AM guys. FM went by a little earlier. This time, the AM comes by with Bruce Williams. You may have heard him weeknights on Talk Radio 1240.
And they're all dressed up because it's a special year for them, the 50th anniversary celebration. It's funny for a lot of people to see these faces because they're used to just hearing their voices.
The guy with the beard to your right there is Jerry O'Neill. He's the morning talk show host of Wink AM. Keith Kite there in the foreground. There's Jerry. None of the crowd can believe it. You mean that's Jerry O'Neill?
Floats look also different when they're lighted up at night. Have that extra sparkle to them.
That's the fun thing about a nighttime parade. You may have seen some of the like Macy's Day Parade or the Rose Bowl Parade, things like that, but it really does set it apart when it's at night like this.
Hey, we'll let Wink AM take us out to another commercial break, but we'll be right back. Plenty of parade action ahead, so stay with us.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. I'm Todd Shear, along with Jane Lorenzini and Margie Willis. Who are we seeing here, Margie?
This is Jim Geisinger and Bill Carlson. And I don't know who the young lady is in the back seat. I think he was added.
And here comes the Mariner High School Band.
Silver Magic. It's their third year playing together.
They've really grown. They had 83 members in their first year back in 1987. They now have 130 members. It received a straight superior rating at the 1989 Florida Bandmasters Association District Marching Band Festival. Kids climbing all over each other just to see the band.
These bands right now are in concert mode, and for them to come out and march in a parade is not their thing right now. So
usually just the
glad they
marching
came
band
to
during football time, right?
Right.
Well, they're still putting out a good sound. I have to admit, I was finding my foot tapping here a second ago.
Tapping on my foot, Todd, by the way. Cameraman dancing in there a little bit. He's got him going.
Billy is probably so startled to see a marching band break out in song. It's fun to watch a marching band when it looks like they're really out there having some fun.
I think they're having a great time. You said you used to play drums, Jane?
Sure did.
That was the fun part, wasn't it? When you got to show off your talents, just ignore the rest of the band and go at it, right?
What are you trying to say, Todd?
I knew you drummers. You were all alike.
Wanted the spotlight, huh? Tom Willihan's shop class built this next float in 1 month. This is the slogan with "Like Edison, Mariner lights the way." There's some plaques aboard that Viking ship that represent the different classes at school, and also there's one plaque that represents jersey number 55 in honor of football player Tony McKenna, who was struck by lightning and killed. There it is, number 55, in honor of a real special student there.
And here comes the Cat Balloon radio, or Cat Radio Balloon. I guess got my mixed up words there, didn't I, Jim?
Cat got your tongue.
It's an 18-foot high panda wearing Western outfit.
That's another one of those cold air balloons.
I think that means they fill them in Buffalo, New York. Cold air.
So. Watch out when they deflate.
That's right. Arctic air.
Some of the guys walking alongside. You want to hear some radio names? These are definite radio names. Rick McGee, The Bear, Shotgun Bob McCoy, Lee Collier, and Gator Michaels. Southwest Florida Regional Medical Center really focusing a lot recently on care for your heart. As a matter of fact, they're building a new cardiac unit at Southwest Regional Medical Center.
This is a real classy looking float. I remember seeing this afternoon. Very classy.
Edison Mall Merchants Association Nice and
You might
bald.
be interested. This float was also used the Miami Orange Bowl Parade as their Queen's float.
Oh, great.
They're honoring the Merchant of the Year, Carrington's Beauty Salon.
Coming up, you'll see in one of the tow units, some of the riders along there are the winners of the Inventors Fair, which is a fun thing for the kids in the area. Jason McGillicuddy, who's a junior at Mariner High School, winner of the Inventors Fair. Lee County Army ROTC, that's Junior ROTC Brigade. Individual color guards of the 7 high schools forming the brigade.
That brigade is growing. Right now, they're 600 strong.
Various high schools: Cypress Lake Panthers, the Cape Coral Seahawks, Riverdale Raiders, Fort Myers Greenway, Stero Wildcats, and Mariner Tritons. Coming up in just a moment, we'll be seeing some of our co-workers with the Time to Care train from Wing TV. We'll also get a chance to talk to them in just a moment. This is interesting perspective for me. I was actually riding on the float last year, and I had never done that before. It's a lot of fun, but your arm does get a little tired there toward the end.
Oh, you poor thing. I was working the parade last year while you were waving.
The effect of it all, once I got done, it felt like I guess Dr. Seuss would describe it as my waver was worn out and my smiler was sore or something.
No smiles from these guys.
No, they take this seriously. Lee County Army JROTC Brigade. A lot of precision there.
We welcome a voice you may recognize. Jim McLaughlin joins us aboard the Wing TV float. You can't see yet, but we'll give you a little sound before it. Jim, can you hear me? Okay, you may not recognize that voice because it's not on yet.
Hey, Jane.
Todd,
Jim, are you out there?
Yes, we are. How you doing?
Well, we're trying to get a hold of Jim McLaughlin.
I'm right here, Todd. Can you hear me?
Jim, are you out there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me, Todd?
Go ahead, Jim.
Todd, Jane, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you, Jim.
There you are. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing great. We're up here on the Time to Care float. We've got Monica Fisher and Marisa Martin and Christina Penza and Hoda Kotb and Gary Grant, Tim Brown. Who else? Mary Beth Farnham, and of course, Jim, what's his name? The guy that does the weather. Reeve, I think that's his name.
That really short guy, you mean?
Yeah, we're about to come into the lighted area right now. The crowd is great downtown. This is one of the best crowds I've seen since I started doing the parade in 1978. And you can probably hear some of our Wink theme music in the background.
Sounds like it's time to care.
We can see you up there in the window now. How you doing?
Good. Where are you? Can you see us? There you
yes,
are.
Yes, I can. There you are.
Can we take that train back to our cars?
I don't know. We had to take the wheels off. We were having a little problem earlier tonight. Christina Penza, this is your first parade. You just came from the Los Angeles area. How do you like it?
I love it. I think there's a terrific spirit in Fort Myers, and you can see it from all the people here tonight. It's just great. I'm really happy to be here.
We've got a great crowd out here. Monica Fisher, you having a good time tonight?
Oh, this is great out here. So many smiling faces, big bright eyes. We're loving it. This is great. The people are having a great time, no doubt.
How about Jim Raitt?
What a turnout tonight. Incredible. We're just having a great time here tonight.
Todd and Jane, we were pretty happy. We walked along one group in the crowd, and they had an ad hoc judging group, and they all got 10s on their scorecards.
Right. I think they're giving Jim Reef a 10 for the weather tonight as well.
Yeah, they're all happy about that. Marisa Martin is here, too. You having a good time tonight?
I'm having a wonderful time.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim. It's time to move on. Have fun along the parade route.
Nice to see you guys.
You look great. Up next, the entry from Bell Tower Mall. Also, Jacobson's department store, Jacobson's Teen Board of the Riders. Float designed to represent Florida lifestyle.
Plenty of Kodak film and other film being snapped tonight.
That's for sure. One of the few inventions Edison didn't come up with, I guess, huh?
This is one he did come up with.
Did he?
He did do the photograph. This is the 8th year for Eastman Kodak in our parade this year.
We'll be right back
Dress
with
your mommy's clothes.
We'll be back with a lot more coming up next.
Don't go away. Welcome back to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. We're about an hour and a half into the parade now with plenty to come. Lee County Port Authority float right now. First year in the parade.
The employees requested participation and they coordinated the whole event themselves, dressed in old World War II flight uniforms. These are people from the various Port Authority departments out of Southwest Regional Airport, and they're talking about how the world is now coming to Southwest Florida. I guess that's definitely true, isn't it, Margie?
It sure is.
This is the North Fort Myers High School Marching Band. Here comes a boatload of fun. It's from Crossland Savings Bank. And what else would you find in a boatload of fun, but naturally, a boatload of clowns.
I hate to say it, but these clowns are employees. And their families.
You must not have your account there.
Not anymore, I bet.
This is the first time they've been in the Edison Festival Light Parade this year.
Right?
And I see bubbles coming out of that boat, too.
Postal Service says they deliver, and they deliver us an extraordinary float tonight.
This is the whole thing measures 40 feet. Of course, the classic eagle, depicting the express mail service symbol.
Must be nice for these carriers and employees to be relaxing on this float after the Valentine's Day rush this week.
Boy, I'll say. Around the holidays, those guys certainly earn their money.
Special year for their Postal Service. Coming up, they celebrate their opening of the first post office back in 1792.
Here's the Lehigh Acres float, showing off the Lehigh Spring Festival.
This float also comes from Miami from a different float company. It's their first time in Fort Myers, and they're planning on coming back next year and bringing more of their floats. They're out of Coral Gables, Florida.
Quite a science goes into making these floats, really.
They sure do.
Margie, in the parades of the past, were there more commercial floats than the private family-made floats, or has that changed at all?
We've gotten more independent floats than ever before, and of course the commercial floats are growing. This year we have so many more. Last year we only had about 25, so we've gained more commercial floats. I think it's going to be more each year the way it comes. Our biggest thing is storing them when they come over from Miami and Tampa.
We've been seeing a lot of bands so far during the parade, but this is the first all-girls marching band. It's the Seaforth District High School Marching Band from Ontario, Canada, 60 members. And as I said, it's an all-girl marching band.
Building up some muscles with those tubas.
Petersburg Festival float. Fairly patriotic theme on this one.
This is one of the awards that President Sam Galloway gave as honorable mention to St. Petersburg Festival. This is one of the parades that our float reciprocates to. We go up to St. Petersburg for their parade, and also Plant City.
St. Petersburg float showing off the old red, white, and blue. Feeling very patriotic tonight. And if you're one of those people who will be watching later tonight to see what numbers are popping up, hoping that you have the lucky ticket to become a millionaire, here comes the Florida Lottery float. Incredible success story, that Florida Lottery. Unbelievable.
I don't think they're throwing lottery tickets, though.
I don't think so. This
What a
is the
gem.
first year entry for the lottery, and they're also one of our big sponsors for their 3 weeks in the park.
Boy, that makes me thirsty.
Well, it's nice to see a float talking about the environment a little bit. This one dealing with recycling, reminding people that it is important to recycle your cans and bottles. Sponsored by Fort Myers Coca-Cola Bottling Company.
Riverdale High marches onto the scene, 150 members strong.
Riverdale was last year's honor band for the Edison Festival.
Musical break with the Riverdale High School Marching Band, and we're going to take a little break, but we'll be right back with a lot more of the Edison Festival of Light Parade in just a moment. And coincidentally, there is the NCNB float here at the Edison Festival of Light Parade. Just a moment ago, we missed the Goodwill Industries and National Bank of Lee County float. We'll show you that a little later in the show. We've got that on videotape. And the National Bank of Lee County, nice enough to let us use their building, and Boyle Engineering giving us a chance to use their balcony here to watch the Edison Festival of Light Parade.
What a great vantage point, too. And you can only imagine what the Fort Myers High Stadium, the final destination of the parade, looks like. Bands and floats taking a victory lap around the stadium.
That's right, another Canadian band heading up the street. This one, the E.L. Crossley Band. It's from Ontario, Canada. Font Hill, Ontario, Canada, 75+ members. This band has appeared throughout the U.S., also in Vancouver and Ottawa in Canada.
And Disney World. They've been in Florida before.
Strawberry Festival, Plant City, Florida.
Well, they make these strawberries sparkle aboard with some real unique lighting.
Queen of the Strawberry Festival is Kirsten Lynn Martinson. She's riding there along with her maids. Strawberry Festival, a big event in Florida. Although certainly not bigger than the Edison Festival of Light Parade. Right, Margie?
That's right.
Got some sprinkles headed our way on Main Street, I imagine in other areas. Not fizzling out the enthusiasm. Plenty of smiles still out there.
There's the Queen, Kirsten Lynn Martinson, the Strawberry Festival Queen. And here comes the Feathered Odyssey coming up next. You can see it winding its way up the street, following the Strawberry Festival float. Crowd likes that one because you'll be impressed too, I think. All the brightly colored lights and all the bright colors, period.
Can't go wrong with Peacock.
Of this next float coming along. Really a beautiful float. Sponsored by the Eye Center of Florida.
They've given us quite an eye full, haven't they?
That's right.
That's the Mayor's Awards, 3rd place this year.
Just a beautiful float. Hundreds of lights covering this float.
This is their first entry into the Edison Festival Light Parade.
Not bad for a first attempt.
No, it sure isn't, is it?
Next float is sponsored by Gulf Coast Dodge. It's the Menagerie of Circus Animals. This is a neat float. Looks a lot like an old-fashioned circus wagon.
Still about 15 minutes left of our coverage, so please stay with us. Plenty ahead.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Edison Festival of Light Parade. I'm Todd Shearer, along with Jane Lorenzini and Margie Willis. And coming up is an interesting group. It's the Philadelphia Mummers, and they're a busy group tonight. They performed earlier
at the entertained at our stadium show at 6 o'clock, and then we rushed them back to the parade, so here they come.
Luckily, traffic isn't any problem this time of night at the Edison Festival.
Not when you have a police escort.
Mum is hardly the word with these guys. Let's take a listen. Okay.
No, we didn't get a chance to show you this earlier. This is videotape shot of the Goodwill Industries float, and it's also co-sponsored by the National Bank of Lee County, which is our home for the night here for our coverage of the Edison Festival of Light Parade.
Talk about color and sparkle. The Mummers got it.
They claim to play the happiest music in the world. What great costumes.
This is called the Fraco Mummers.
This band organized in 1922. It's appeared all over the place on TV shows, and they were even in the movie Miracle on 34th Street.
That's Sam Whitaker. Sam Whitaker's been with the Edison Festival Parade about 27 years.
Yeah, that's the Flexbond float. That's got to be one of my favorite songs. I love that. Local singer Andy Wahlberg riding that float. This is sort of a south of the border and nautical theme float.
I think we know what kind of paint they used on it.
30th anniversary, by the way, for Flexbond.
This is a great float.
Andy Wahlberg, a very popular local musician, as you can see, and you can see why.
Glendale Federal, you'll notice this float has 2 sections to it.
Featured aboard a German cuckoo clock.
With the theme, Time to Save. Trying to tell people to save their money, not always an easy thing to do.
That part has 3 sections to it. The last one's coming into view now.
Also a clock theme.
This
Girls
is
riding along.
Third year parade.
Girls riding along in German folk costumes.
Oh, here comes a lot of noise coming, I hear.
Well, you'll find out why in just a moment.
Fort Myers turning into bedrock in a few minutes.
But first, it just wouldn't be a Florida-style parade without a few bikinis, and talking about Key West. This float really shows off all the fun things you can do in Key West: fishing, boating, diving.
Key West is our 2nd place winner from Sam Galloway. He loves to go to the Keys and go fishing, so that he couldn't resist the Florida Keys.
The crowd standing up off their lawn chairs.
Riders on this float saying, boy, I'm sure glad it's a warm night here in Southwest Florida. What a great float.
Beautiful. The reel on the fishing pole moving.
Probably could deserve a break after all this work.
Key deer on there.
And, of course, the old Keys treasure chest. Everybody always looking for a little treasure when they're diving off the Florida Keys, aren't they?
Another good neighbor to come all this way to be in our parade.
Glad to have him.
That's a long drive. First time you make that drive's a surprising one. You think, oh, it can't be that far, and then you just keep driving.
Especially with a float attached to your car.
That's right. And we'll be right back with more of the Edison Festival of Light Parade in just a moment.
And here he comes.
Welcome back to the sights and sounds of the Edison Festival of Light Parade. I'm Todd Shearer, along with Jane Lorenzini and Margie Willis. And here is the Baron Collier High School Marching Band, over 200 members strong.
The band is sporting our Bahamian police style uniforms.
Boy, the crowd loves them, don't they?
What a fun band to watch.
Wish you could see them out in the stadium when this comes through. They just have a time. That crowd just roars.
I wish everybody could watch Margie right now. She's dancing all over this balcony up here. Boy, did they put on a show. Baron Collier High School Marching Band. During our commercial break, Fred Flintstone went by, the Yubba Dubba Doo guy himself, sponsored by Metro Mall, and this is his very first appearance anywhere.
Fred is quite a bundle to handle. He has 20 people working his magic.
50-foot helium balloon, weighs 300 pounds when not in, or 300 pounds when inflated.
Too many cactus coolers and
I guess that's
Dino
right.
burgers.
Brontosaurus burger, wasn't it?
That's right.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be right back with a few of the things we missed during commercial breaks. So don't go anywhere.
We'll see you then. We wrap up our coverage of the Edison Festival of Light Parade with some of the floats and bands we may have missed during the commercial breaks. This is the Goodwill float.
Sponsored by, co-sponsored, Goodwill and the National Bank of Lee County. We're at the National Bank of Lee County tonight.
This is the Rotary Club. First time entry for the Edison Festival Parade. It's all handmade by the men themselves.
That's great.
This is Boppin' Your Hop. It's a 50s float with a 57 Chevy carrying the kids along in the parade.
Notice the poodle skirt there, huh?
That's part of the Shriners with their ship. Another part of the Shriners with their fire
truck.
engine.
They're the cloggers we were talking about earlier.
There's a hatching, the bird groups in this nest.
That's the Edison High Marching Band. Edison High School, not from Southwest Florida, but actually from Ohio.
That's Thomas Edison's home, where he was born in Milan, Ohio. It's the first time they've been to Fort Myers. Remax Realty. This is their second year in our parade. United Telephone. This is their second year in our parade. All done red, white, and blue.
Star-Spangled Salute to the Edison Parade. Huh?
Busch Gardens. They've been here about 20 years.
Earlier we mentioned, took a little look at our Grand Marshal of the parade for tonight. That was Patty Berg. And Patty also received another honor in addition to being the Grand Marshal of the parade. She won the Great American Award. That was presented by Sam Galloway Jr., who is the president of the Edison Festival. And Patty is the third recipient to get this award. Let's take a look at what happened.
Patty, it's indeed a pleasure to present you with the Great American Award. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Edison Festival of Light, I'd like to present this to you. Patty, there are two people in the history of our organization that have received this, you being the third, and this is over the last 15 or 20 years. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure, Pat.
Thank you very much, Sam. I'm very thrilled, honored, and very happy to receive this most prestigious award. I want you to know that I'm so happy and thrilled to be the Grand Marshal in the parade, and this has just been a terrific week for me, last couple of weeks, and I've had a super time, and many, many thanks for all the tremendous honors that you have presented me with the last couple of weeks. Thank you so very, very much.
One of the most famous women golfers in the world, actually. She helped start the Ladies Professional Golf Association. And interesting to note also that the Great American Award, this is only the third time that someone has received the Great American Award. The other two were Roy Rogers and Red Skelton.
And we thank you for sharing 2 hours this evening with me and Todd Shear and Margie Willis. We thank you for all the history you provided. How would you rank this parade to your 17 years?
It's rates in 10. It's a wonderful parade.
It sure is.
It's always a lot of fun.
And
Thanks, everybody.
Then we thank National Bank of Lee County for offering their facilities and the great view.
From the offices of Boyle Engineering here at the bank.
You have a good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
See us next year.